Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, eXp Realty family and friends. Happy Friday. Welcome to eXp's Level Up live stream. Welcome to Fire Friday. My name is Curtis Dixon. I'm so excited to be with you all. If you're joining us live in the Metaverse Auditorium, thanks for being here. Don't forget to use the chat box. We are excited to hear from you. If you're with us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this link. You are in for an amazing show today. If you're a regular attendee, you know what we're about to do. So we're going to get your mindset going in the right direction. If you're joining us for the first time, we're going to explain the show, tell you what you're here for. And if you're checking in for the big agent meeting, that starts here in just about 30 minutes at the top of the hour. So what we do every Friday to get you going in the right direction is we kick off with your morning mindset prompt. And today I'm going to challenge you to think through everything you have going on, the projects, large and small, the things happening in your life personally, what's going on in your business. And I want you to start to get clear on kind of just naming or assigning, little categories to each of these things, right? You've got maybe your family, maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have kids, maybe you have one source of income, maybe you have 2 or 3 or 10, like today's guest, right? Maybe you've got a lot going on. Maybe not maybe, it's real, right? You do. And I want you to think through all of that. And I want you to pretend you had a magic pause button. And if you could just pause one of those things so that you could take that energy and effort and time spent and focus a little more on something else to determine if you should eliminate that thing altogether, what would you push pause on? I want you to find something going on in your world or life that you'd like to push pause on. And then I want to challenge you just for the next 30 minutes to go ahead and push pause. Stop thinking about that. Stop letting it take your time, consume your energy. And I want you to get real present to what would happen if you weren't spending your time, your focus, your energy over there, and instead investing it in some of these other parts of your life that you do want to focus on. So find a place to push pause today and explore that over the weekend. That is your mindset prompt this morning, everybody. I know that will be challenging. Find it. And if you're bold enough and you want to share it with us in the chat box here in eXp World or in the comment stream on YouTube, we would love to hear what it is you're going to push pause on for just a little bit so you can shift your focus to everything else that you have going on. It's a great exercise. It's important to do in the moment. It'll help you get present to what's important for you. And that's what we want to do here today. So welcome to the Connected Podcast. We call this your safe space to embrace your power. Every single Friday, we're going to bring you a conversation or idea that's going to challenge you to step into a more powerful version of yourself. And that's what we want to do today. When I think of powerful versions of others, I absolutely think of today's special guest. This amazing entrepreneur is not only a rock star in real estate, she's a rock star in business in so many areas of her life. Every single time I get a chance to be near her, around her, I learn from her. I feel more powerful. I feel inspired. It's an honor and a privilege to bring on my friend, our amazing eXp rock star, Gogo Bethke. Gogo, good morning.
Good morning. This is the best company to be at.
Oh, well, we love you. We're glad you're here, and we are lucky to have you. So thank you for jumping in this morning. I want to go right to what we were talking about as we were preparing for today's show a little bit. You know, you were laying out for me all these businesses and what your last few years have been like. And then you told me what you are kind of doing and have been doing systematically. Catch us up. What's been going on in Gogo's world and where are we now?
Well, started as a realtor like everybody, right? And then came to eXp, decided to live with every opportunity that this company had to offer. I told my husband, give me 3 years. I will work like a mad woman, right? So we don't ever have to work again because thanks to this company, you can do that. You can absolutely have it all, right? If you have the matching work ethic. And my husband and then also during COVID, I had a lot of time to think. And I have a brain that just never stops, that comes with great ideas, right? And then I like to live with those ideas because I believe if God gave you the idea, it's for you. It's meant to be, right? You already have the skills that can turn it into reality. I did open 9 companies. Woo.
9?
Well, I already had some. I ended up with 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the end of last year. And I started getting snappy. I started losing patience with people. I started you asked me earlier, what does that mean? My husband says that Hungarians will put an Italian to shame at any day. So we are, as I like to say, very passionate people, right? Like when I'm talking to my parents, my husband doesn't speak any Hungarian, right? And he goes, are you guys fighting? And I'm like, no, that's just how we talk. You're very passionate people, right? But I didn't want to lose my patience with people, and I didn't want to be overscheduled, and I didn't want to be so burnt out. And anyway, my husband reminded me. He goes, "You remember, honey, when you said that you're going to work like a mad woman for 3 years?" And he goes, "We are going on year 4.5."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Ooh." Did it, because when you start doing it, right, like I love creating, and I love the ability to help others along the way, meaning when you create job opportunities, right, like for people that maybe didn't have a job that they loved before, right? And I'm a very easygoing boss. I'm not a micromanager. Now, in the same time, I'm very blunt. I have no filter. I was born without one. God forgot to give me one. Or as I like to say, when God was giving out filters, I skipped the line.
Yeah, sounds like go-go.
I mean, literally, as I think it, I say it. I'm not vicious. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just, that's my thought, right? And so anyway, I realized that I need to slow down, and I need to, also my best friend passed away last year, one of my best friends, in a car accident. And she lived about 12 minutes from me, and I didn't see her over 3 months. I was so busy, right, building. And I realized, what's the point of all of this hard work? And don't get me wrong, there is fruit to my labor. But what's the point? Because there's no hearse behind, or there's no U-Haul behind a hearse. Right? What's the point if you don't actually enjoy your life? If you don't have, like, I remember when we were so broke, then I couldn't afford to go buy something. And now I'm the opposite, where I have all the money, but I don't have the time to go buy something. I couldn't tell you the last time I just walked through Marshalls just for shits and giggles. Right? I used to go grab Starbucks. Christy and I, we used to go to Marshalls, like just spend 2-3 hours at Marshalls and look around. Like, I miss the ability to live life. So now I closed down a couple companies. So I looked at things of like, okay, what do I enjoy doing? What makes me money? And most importantly, just because it makes me money, does it makes me more money than anything else that I'm doing? Right? If it makes me less money but takes time, then why am I doing it? Even if I enjoy it, why am I doing it if I can spend? So let's think of it this way. What if a company makes you $8,000 a month? It's more than a household salary for 2 people working full time. Don't get me wrong, right? But what if it takes me, I don't know, 2 hours a week, which is 8 hours a month, right, to make that $8,000? What if I can come over here and spend 1 hour and make that? Right? Where should I be spending my time? Just because it makes me $8,000, but it takes me 8 hours every single month to make that, shouldn't I just spend 1 hour here and make 8,000 if I have that option? Right? So I had to really slow down, look at each of my companies, look at how much money does it make me, how much time does it take away from me and my family, most importantly, right, in my life, and then do I enjoy it? Even if it makes me money, what if I hate it? What if I have to work with somebody that I absolutely not enjoy?
Yeah.
Not even.
So what was your decision there when you found things that you hated or that you didn't enjoy? Were those things you cut?
Bye, Felicia.
That easy, huh?
That easy. That easy. And so I'm working on slowing down. I'm working on building systems where it requires less of my time. So I'm very cautious now. I only work Monday to Wednesday. Monday to Wednesday, I'm super scheduled, like literally down one Zoom call, one podcast, one Zoom call, one podcast, pretty much. And then Mondays are my team meetings with all of the companies and the different things that we did keep in my calendar. And then so I try to do it on Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is for fun. And then we are in life and family. And we invested into a beach condo now. We are closing tomorrow. So now,
congratulations.
Thank you. We are going to be Airbnb owners. And so I'm going to furnish that and try to learn the investment side of things in Airbnb world.
Yeah.
And just kind of like things that allows us to enjoy life and makes us the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Oh, go. Well, I love that for you and your family. And congratulations. And running only a year and a half longer than you said you would run is actually pretty good, because I think so many people, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think so many people don't ever look up, right? It's like they get down, they put their head down and they just keep going. And then it's 5 years or it's 10 years or it's a heart attack or it's some tragedy, some trauma. And then that's what finally gets their attention. So I just commend you and I congratulate to you and your family that you looked up, that you made some of these really hard choices, and those are beautiful. And it sounds like you're going to enjoy much more than the fruits of your labor in the coming, weeks and months and years. So that's awesome.
I mean, you make it sound so beautiful, but I want to be honest with the people who are listening, right? It wasn't a very like heartfelt conversation with my hubby. It was more like him yelling at me, and he said, "Honey, it's been 4.5 years. You need to stop," right?
Mm.
And that's what, because when you get into that motion of doing, going, it's you don't. I mean, I don't have time to go potty between 2 Zoom calls, right? So I didn't have time to really slow down. And because I truly enjoy what I'm doing, like my work is my hobby. I don't have hobbies. I love what I get to do, right? I want people to understand that it's sometimes when you are in the grind, you don't come up for air.
Yeah.
Like you are head down, going for the next step in the process, right? And sometimes you need that loving heart push from somebody else who gets to see it, look from the outside in to stop you. So hopefully you all have that loving cheerleader in your life that will stop you from burning yourself out.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I don't know that everyone does, right? Have that person. And sometimes it's you, and or sometimes maybe they don't have a person that can do it as forcefully as your partner did, right? Or really get your attention. So you talked about being snappy. What I was going to ask was, can you think of the other ways that burnout or that overwhelm or that time to push pause or stop shows up for other people? Like, have you seen it in other people? So that way they can get aware. Maybe they're not all feeling snappy, but they're feeling something else. What are some of those other things that maybe when you look back now, were also going on for you when you had too much, or that you see in others?
I mean, physically it will show up too, right? Like gaining weight. It was one day I woke up and I was 137 pounds, which for me is huge. My average weight is 90. So when I met my husband, I was 98 pounds from the time I was 16 until I was probably 36, right? Like I'm just a tiny little 5'2" person, right? So when I went from 96 to 137, that's a huge gain. Like that's almost 40% more weight on the body that is not used to, right? For my husband, he's like, honey, you're still tiny. Like to him, doesn't matter. But I told him, I said, listen, imagine if you gained 35-40% more weight. So we did the math, and for him it was like 80 pounds. I'm like, imagine if you're 80 pounds heavier, right? Like that is a lot of weight. So it will show up physically, it will show up mentally, it will show up spiritually. Like I am very spiritual, but when you are so busy and so exhausted, like I used to wake up early and just enjoy my coffee and talk to God. Like that is my time of like thinking, talking to God. But when you have an appointment and up until 2 o'clock and your first appointment is 8 o'clock and you're barely out of bed and barely had time to put makeup on and take a shower, and here we go again, then you lose that connection because you didn't have time, right? Then I stopped working out because I'm a morning workouter, then I'm exhausted, I can't work out with food in my stomach, so I'm like, but I can wake up, I'm too tired. So it's just like it will catch up with you. It will catch up with you.
Well, this might be someone's wake up call out there, Gogo. And so thank you for sharing that experience. And again, and also thank you for talking about how it honestly shows up, because sometimes, you talked about your Hungarian sort of approach of just being direct, and you Gogo having no filter. A lot of people in other people's lives, they're a little bit more careful. They do have that filter. They're cautious. So we don't always hear what someone's telling us. We don't hear like, hey, it's time for you to stop. Hey, you need to reevaluate. Hey, we talked about this and it's time for you to honor your commitment. So I love you sharing how, honestly, how that went down.
You might wake up one day and realize, I asked Dwayne, I'm like, do I have any friends? I mean, I would totally understand if my friends just flat out cut me out of the picture because I haven't gone to anything in so long. I missed their birthdays because, I'm so sorry, I'm speaking again in Dallas or whatever I'm at, right? But my best friend Rachel, every single year I miss her birthday, and it's EXP shareholders.
Sorry, Rachel.
Rachel, and I love EXP.
We just love having Gogo on stage. We're sorry, Rachel.
Like I have to go to shareholders. It's like, I love this company. This company has changed my life. I owe it to this company. Every opportunity I get, I'm there. If I can help change others through what this company offers to us. But what I want to say, I guess, through all this is that nothing is free. What I mean is that everything has a cost in life.
Yeah.
Right. So if I want to have the good life through EXP, then I might have to miss my best friend's birthday. And I sure hope that she understands. And maybe we can celebrate the week after that. That's
right. And you have this newfound free time, right? With your new intentional approach to the slow down and the simplification. Yeah, I want to go there a little bit. I love just the concept of, when things are complex and busy and wild and chaotic, if you work as hard as you're working on doing all that stuff to simplify, then things will be completely different in that area of your life. So in this next season, having done 9 businesses at one time and worked for 4.5 years, like a mad woman, as you called yourself, now to distill it down to a few days a week and a few businesses, what are you doing that's a little bit more intentional this time around? You already talked about sort of the scheduling piece, but are you bringing any sort of different approach now, knowing what you know, to these new businesses and everything else that you're focused on?
Yeah, so multiple things, right? I wanted to literally, I'm so scheduled. Everything I do is super scheduled, right? So then I was like, okay, well, then I need to schedule the fun too, because I naturally don't know how to have fun. I'm naturally a workhorse. It's just what I enjoy doing. If I don't have anything in my calendar, somehow I find my way back to the office, right? Because I just love it. So now my days are scheduled. So I work Monday to Wednesday in my businesses or on my businesses, right? And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing work related.
Wow.
So I squeeze in as much work as I can into Monday to Wednesday. And also, as you're growing, more and more opportunities get your way, right? And then you're so tempting, like, ooh, I should probably listen to them, right? Ooh, I should probably get that opportunity. And now what I'm trying to do is filter it before it even gets to my calendar. I used to just allow everybody my calendar, see what the opportunity is, and then decide. Now I'm like trying to filter it through my many assistants of like, have them send us a video first, have them tell us what it is, what is their affiliate program, how much is their product, how many clients do they have, do they have trackers? Like, I'm not doing any affiliate anymore unless there's a dashboard. Because guess what's going to happen? Oh, you didn't have any sales this month. Oh, shit. Excuse my French. I know what I bring to the table. You're just not giving me credit for the traffic I generated. You're not playing that game anymore, right? So literally, I'm trying to not even allow those appointments into my calendar unless we put them through a lot of filters, right?
Yeah.
And automating things, I think that's very important too. I'm huge in systems and automation, not because I want to take jobs away from humans, it's because if there is an easier way to do something or faster way to do something with the Zapier integration of not manually having to do things. So we look at all of our things, like my bootcamp, for example, redid the whole thing.
Redid it?
Yes, redid the whole thing, because I realized that we say it all the time, how to eat an elephant, and it's one bite at a time. And I realized, whoa, my whole boot camp at the time was, I think at the time when we started this madness, was 267 videos for agent attraction.
Wow.
So when someone bought my boot camp, they got it all at once. They're like, whoa, like not, they know where to start because it's chronological order for things, right? But it's like, I'm going to get to the end of it. Like they would just get overwhelmed. And so I was like, okay, we're going to break this elephant down into bite-sized pieces. So we've been working the last 4 months. You can't even buy my bootcamp; it's shut down, right? And then so the last 3 or 4 months, we literally restructured everything. And I want it to be as automated as I'm literally down to 2 employees in that business that I mean, I'm paid them full time, but ideally they're going to work 2-3 hours a day, right? And to have the systems where everything's automated. We added a chat box to the page. So we are trying to eliminate the emails that are coming in. We added a massive FAQ section. So the questions are answered so they don't have to reach out to us, right? Like we are just trying to hit the problem ahead of time. So there's nothing for us to do at the back end, which takes months to build it, months to think of all of the potential. But what if somebody, right? And doing the research of what questions do people have about my bootcamp, right? Then making sure we have the answers in the FAQ section. Then, so it's just a lot of thinking ahead, but sometimes you have to pull the arrow up, arrow back, right? And that's pretty much what we're doing now. We pulled it back. We stopped everything, pulled it back, restructuring everything. So then it's be as automated and as simple as humanly and systematically can be.
So, well, congratulations on doing that, because I know your bootcamp product has just been a big part of your, of your growth and your success and your ability to reach and impact so many people. So I love that. I'm fascinated by the idea that you sort of stopped and, as you said, pull the arrow back, because that sounds like a lot of thinking work, a lot of mental and brain work, right? And I don't know if this has been true for you at various times in your life, but it certainly has for me. And I think for others, like you said, when you're a doer, when you're a creator, you're a builder, and your daily work is getting stuff done and accomplishing and achieving, sometimes that really thoughtful work that makes you stop and slow down is the hardest, or it's the one you put off the longest, because it's going to feel like a period of time where you're not achieving, accomplishing, doing, you're stopping, you're not getting the money coming in, you're not getting the clients coming in. but it sounds like you're super willing to invest there. So for people, Gogo, who maybe haven't gone through this exercise, but they need to, like when they're listening to you talk, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to do that in business ABC, or I need to do that for my health, or I need to do that in my relationships or whatever. I need to stop and do the hard, thoughtful work. What would you say to them? Is it worth it? What can they anticipate going through that? What's the thinking work been like?
I'm going to show you something.
Show me.
So the reason I can afford to stop, that black thing on the wall right there, how do I do that? That one right there.
Yep.
That's a 2 comma club award. I have 2 of these. So a 2 comma club award allows you, 2 comma club award means that you have sold in your online program over 7 digits. So we did that twice in each of my programs, right?
Wow.
So what I'm trying to say by that is I can stop because I can afford to stop. I can afford not to have 4 months of income of that because I can, right? We worked very hard. We have reached very high goals that many, many people haven't, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why people don't stop, because even though they know that their product could potentially be better, they can't afford to stop because they have maybe so many employees that even if money's not coming in, you're pitching out tens of thousands of dollars, right? The other thing that I'm very good at, that I've been broke for so long, right? Like so many years of my life, we didn't have money, especially coming from communism, that I realized that my brain just automatically works in a way of how can I have the least amount of overhead. I cannot potentially sleep at night knowing that I have $125,000 in payroll this month, right? Like I couldn't. I can't run business like that. So all of my businesses are very lean machine. Most of the employees, especially in this business, were percentage based, meaning I made money if I made money, right? So then you're faced of losing potentially employees, because if you stop the business and they're not making money, well, they're going to have to go somewhere else to make money, right? Unless you have money to stick it out. So that's why up to this point, everybody was percentage based. Then I kept a couple employees, made them salaried so they can stay, so I don't lose them, right? And everybody else left, which is fine because I didn't want to have that type of business anymore. Anyway, that's why we restructured everything. So it's to answer your question in a roundabout way, it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
Sadly, right? And in order to be able to stop, you have to have the money so you can float yourself in that period of time. So I don't want someone who's listening here to be like, okay, what a great idea. I'm just going to stop everything, right?
Right. Don't do that. Hold on. Listen to the rest.
Yeah, don't do that because you have probably children to feed, right? So we can't play with that life, but then you can plan for that. You might say, okay, let's hit it hard with what we have going on now for the next 3 months. Let's save up money so then we can float this business for the next 3 months and then redo everything. Right. So everything you do, it's a business decision. You have to think it through. But the thinking portion really is the part that's hard for us doers. Right. Like every day I would wake up and I would message my team. Okay, did you guys get this done? Is that up? Is that up? Is the email sequence done? And do we have the automated, drip campaigns going out? Do we have the checkout pages up? Are they working? Is the Zapier integration? Like my brain is constantly thinking of the next step. Right. So even when we are in the thinking, I'm in the thinking phase, they are in the doing phase because they have to redo everything, right? So that thinking, doing kind of never stops no matter what phase you are in. But for us doers, when things are not happening, because even though you're building, you're not making money, right? For me, results means it's successful because we're making money, right? Right now, we're not making anything because we literally shut it down. You can't buy my bootcamp now if you tried, right? So I want people to know that whatever you do is a lot of work. Whatever you do, it's a lot of thinking. Every step you take is going to have a consequence, good or bad.
Yeah.
But hey, if it's bad, it's a lesson.
I love that. So true. I think what I was thinking about there, again, I loved your message here. Like we're talking to Gogo, every person's business and life and situation is super unique. And she just talked about her 4.5-year climb to be in this place where she can redesign her life. But it made me think, Gogo, early in my entrepreneurial career, I used to study what other innovative companies did. And back, 20 years ago, I was fascinated by Google. And so I was studying like what's Google's work culture. I had like one employee at my first startup, right? For a long time, just me and her building. But I was like, what's Google's culture like, right? That was just how I thought. And so Google had this day called Innovation Day way back when. And it was like, one day a week, and maybe it was even half a day or something, employees were required to work on something that was new thought. They had to innovate, create from scratch, try something new. And so if you're sitting out there listening and, GoGo's current life sounds like where you want to go, that's where I want to be. And maybe you're at the beginning of your 4.5-year climb, everything is possible. As she said, follow the blueprint, work your butt off and go get it. But if you need that pause moment, I would encourage you to pick a day of the week, pick a time of the day, get like GoGo and be super scheduled and time block some thinking time, because maybe you need to go rework your buyer presentation. Maybe you need to go rethink your hiring strategy, your job description. Maybe you need to go rethink your relationship with your spouse, your partner that you haven't even stopped and given time or attention to. You can carve out a few hours. Maybe you don't get to carve out 4 months like GoGo, but you can carve out a few hours every week to think differently and do like that really, really hard work. You don't have to be subject to, well, I can't stop, I've got to pay the bills. Cool, pay the bills, work an extra 3 hours on Saturday so you can have Thursday morning at your coffee shop with your journal and let your ideas flow, right? Or Friday morning after you listen to this podcast, just let the wheels turn every once in a while. GoGo, I think, is again an opportunity for everybody, no matter where they're at in their business. So I love that. So I'm going to put you on kind of the hot seat, GoGo, here for the last few minutes of the show. One of the things that I'm fascinated by is the concept of what we're always learning, right? I know you're a huge learner, but I really like what we're unlearning and relearning. Like, what's the old stuff we're getting rid of? And then what's the stuff we already thought we knew, but we're learning again? So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'm going to ask you, what are you learning right now? What are you unlearning right now? And what are you relearning right now? And just give me kind of your shortest, sweetest answers on each. So if you had to think of one thing you're learning right now, what is GoGo learning?
What to do with money.
Oh, that's an amazing one. So join us next time for the entire Unpack podcast, where we go deep into all the money lessons. But I think that's a big subject right now, GoGo. So if that hit a chord for you all, now you know what podcasts you need to listen to, who you need to go follow, like who's talking about money, if that hits you right at the heart. I love that. So you're learning what to do with money. What are you unlearning?
That time is money.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Unlearning.
Time is not money. Meaning, think of it this way. Does Tony Robbins have more than 24 hours in a day?
No.
Does Oprah have more than 24 hours in a day?
No.
We all have 24 hours in a day, but somehow Oprah figured out how to make shit ton more money than I do.
So time is not money. I love it. Last one. What are you relearning right now, GoGo? Something you thought you knew that you're now learning better or different?
I'm relearning to live life.
Oh my gosh. GoGo, I love that for you. And I wish we could go deeper there, everybody. You were hanging out live with the amazing GoGo Bethke. And GoGo, what I'll ask you, I'll put you on the spot one more time. Would you be willing to come do a longer form podcast for the audience where we can go deeper on the relearning life and the money subjects and all that? We'll bring you back.
I would love to.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. We're going to have GoGo again. Happy Friday. We loved having you here. This was a connected podcast, a safe space for you to embrace your power. GoGo, I believe everybody is one connection away from a totally different life. It's a new idea. It's a new person. It's a new mentor. I believe you were that for so many people today, and you are that for so many people in the world. Thank you for being who you are and bringing your powerful energy everywhere you go. Everybody, this has been a pleasure. You've got 2 short minutes before the Friday Big Agent meeting kicks off. So refresh your coffee, hang out. We'll see you again next week at Connected. Thanks, GoGo.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Always a pleasure. Bye, everyone. Happy Friday.
Good morning and happy Friday. I am Russ Lag and I am your host today for the Big Agent Meeting. Today, we've got a great lineup coming down the shop here. We've got Leo Pareja and we've got Michael Valdez. They've got a special announcement they're going to kick off this week. They were here last week. They're here again this week, which means they got even more good stuff to talk about. And then I'm going to go along with Will Higgins, talking to him about where he came from, how he got there, how he got into luxury, how he got into sales, talking about living a great life, being a real estate agent. It's going to be a fun show today. So let's kick it right off with grabbing Michael Valdez, Chief Growth Officer of eXp Realty. Good morning, Michael.
What's up, Ross? How are you, brother?
Rock and rolling on Friday, baby. This is the lifestyle.
Here it is.
Kick off Friday with you guys. Let's grab Leo Pareja, Chief Strategy Officer. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning, Russ. Thanks for having me. How you doing, Michael?
What's up, Leo? How are you, brother?
I'm excellent.
We keep meeting like this. People are gonna start talking if we keep meeting like this on Fridays.
I'm telling you, man, you keep getting good news.
All right, guys, what do you got today?
Oh my God, this is amazing. Leo, you and I speak about 10 times a day, and there is always some great news that we've got. So I love this. Last week we talked about our 48 EXP agents that were on the 2023 Real Trends report of the 1,000 list. But today, God, forget about 48. We've got 340 icon agents and teams named to the Real Trends America's Best Real Estate Agents. Leo, my God, 340.
Yeah, so this used to be one of my favorite reports that came out when I was in production, because the top 1,000 is kind of the itemized list. America's Best is where, if you guys have never gone to the website domain, you can actually look at the country on a map and then start drilling down. I was always very hyper competitive, so I'd shoot right over to Virginia where I used to sell real estate, and you could start looking at them by team, specific categories. You can look at individual, small, medium, large, mega team. And I'm looking at the mega teams in the market I used to sell with, and we have Carey Shaw, the Ruddux team, Team DDA, all these teams that are some of our biggest teams. But of course, it's always really cool to see them in their local market as giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the other folks, John Scalia here in our state of Florida, ranked 6th in the country for agents by sides. My God.
Well, let's talk about that, Michael. We're not talking about number 6 at EXP. He's number 6th as an individual in the whole country.
That's insanity. That's crazy.
He's a super nice guy too. When you bump into him, he just walk right up to you. He's like just a normal dude, which is amazing.
And we're going to have, I know that John already RSVP'd. Leo and I are doing a mastermind for our top producers in Miami on the 29th. That's an invite only. You earn your spot in. And this is amazing. And John certainly earned his spot.
He had 3 of them.
Yeah, 3.
Maybe 4.
Precisely.
That is awesome. Well, Leo, anything else you want to add to that, or I'll let you go?
Some of the highlights: 44 out of the top 100 EXP teams were in the top 5 by sides. 16 of the 60 EXP teams were top by sides. As individual agents, 3 EXP agents were ranked number 1 in volume in their entire markets. 11 were top 5 in volume. 10 were number 1 by volume. I mean, it's just amazing the stuff we have coming out of this list.
Absolutely
amazing. And you know what? We'll probably be back next week with another announcement. Who knows? Who knows?
We might just crash the party, Russ, and start sharing some more.
It's entirely possible. Just switch the first slide. Big agent meeting with Leo, Michael, and Russ. You guys keep coming with this stuff. You can keep coming back.
Love it. It's not us. It's our agents doing all this.
I know.
We're just reporting the good news to everybody else.
Yeah, that is fantastic. All right, Leo, anything else you got on your list there?
That's all I got. I'm excited to see what comes next.
All right, cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week live and in person. Have a great weekend, Leo. I'll see you in a couple.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, Michael Valdez. All right, so
Russ Lagan.
My first question was going to be something along the lines of we're kind of shifting this conversation to production a lot lately. Like, it's intentional, I know, but I want to make sure we talk about that. Like, this is a shift.
You know what? It is. It's the idea that we are the number one brokerage by transactions. Number one. So we are the most productive company out there. We want to make sure that everyone knows that. And we want to celebrate our agents that are doing this day in and day out, meeting with all of the clients, really getting themselves on these lists that we keep reporting week in and week out. They are the amazing ones that we want to celebrate. So yes, we are one of the most productive companies out there. We are attracting the most productive agents because of our platform, because of what we're doing. And everybody wants to be where the best are. And every single week, we keep telling you all of these people that are being ranked the best in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's kind of funny because, Michael, I look at the lists a lot of times and I go through and I'm looking at the production, I'm looking at the units, and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the metrics, and I make some adjustments for appreciation. And I'm like, where do I fit on the list? Where would I fit on the list? Right? Because I'm super competitive too. But here's my thing. And I know your thing and a lot of our leaders, I'm super competitive, but I really want you to win. And now I love seeing our people win. It gets me so excited. It feels like a win for us too, as leaders, which is just amazing to me. So,
but you know what? That whole thing about competition, when we always sort of think about this, it's not the fact that, we've got 88,000 plus agents across 24 countries. It's the idea that 88,000 lives were touched by what this model has done in their lives, their families, their communities. So when we talk about, it's great to be number one. It's great to sort of like have all of these lists out there. But what we really are doing is making a difference in the lives of our agents. And that's really what we are counting.
Yeah. Like, I think the great part is like agent number 88,001 is going to be changed. 88,002 is going to be changed. That's and 79,887 gets changed, right?
That's right.
So it's top to bottom, making a difference all the way across the board. We want every one of them to win. I want the whole tribe to win.
That's it.
I know how you're wired. So, Michael, talking about winning, there was a shift with regard to EXP and stock market and so forth. And we're not going to talk about stocks necessarily, what to do with it, and don't take this as advice on trading. However, with that being said, what in the world happened? Something happened.
So I think some people noticed that there might have been a shift in our stock over the last week or so. And at first it was, we had some great announcements. We announced Luna, our entree into AI, and that started moving the stock a bit. But then all of a sudden, the stock really started moving after hours one day last week, and none of us were aware of actually what happened. So one of the greatest things happened, which is a testament to the growth that we have had of EXP. So EXPI, our parent company, EXP World Holdings, was selected to be part of the S&P Small Cap 600 Index. Now, let me tell you what that means. That is just literally, as the title implies, only 600 companies are allowed as part of this index. So if we went in, one company had to go out. So 600 companies in here, various market caps within that small cap definition. And we are there, which means now mutual funds will start trading indexes, which means they start trading us. There are a lot of larger institutional money, pension funds, things of that nature that trade usually on the index, so that you have a lot of diversification in the market by having a collection of stocks. So people like to trade indexes. So when you start looking at an index trade, and there are some very large institutions like Vanguard has an S&P 600 index as they trade as a mutual fund. So when those things happen, we are now trading on a much larger scale, which means that now a lot more people know about us and the marketplace. And the marketplace really did like that we were selected as part of this. So that was part of where that movement happened. And it's very exciting what we have. And there's a lot more things that are going to be announced soon. We have an internal meeting that's happening next week where we're all going to get together. We're going to look at everything that we're doing, we're looking at how do we even become yet more competitive in the marketplace. So a lot of exciting things that are yet to come.
I love the fact that on Monday in the call Monday with us, with the leadership team, Glenn Sanford say, like, I had no idea it was coming. And I think the point that I loved also was the fact that he said, not only do you have to have metrics to hit it, but then they have to choose you also.
That's right.
Metrics aren't the only gauge. And he was, I think he was kind of surprised and delighted by that.
That's
I know,
right.
it's like, wow, we got chosen. That kind of feels nice, right?
And it's a big deal. There's only 600 companies in that fund.
Yeah.
There's thousands of companies that trade.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking about that, it's right. It's not like you reach a plateau and you qualify automatically. You have to be selected and somebody else has to be deselected.
Right.
Somebody has to be taken off for us to come in.
It's like you choosing Charles Barkley for a game of pickup, but you got to kick your buddy off to take Charles.
You've seen that commercial.
I'll take Charles.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right, Michael. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming by. Always like chat with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you live and in person next week on Thursday. So thank you very much for coming by.
Thanks for all you do, Russ. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Good stuff. All righty, there you go. So 340 icons made the list. Guys, production. Part of the reason we're reinforcing, doubling down, talking about production is because we got a bunch of it. So it's an amazing thing to talk about. And it takes every single one of you, like Michael said, top to bottom, all 88,000 of you guys are important to us. I think the phrase I'm loving lately is EXP loves agents. That's my new favorite one. And we do. So with that said, let's grab one of these guys, right? Will Higgins, EXP agent out of Chino, California. First, I'm going to have to ask him where Chino, California is. Come on down, Will. Jump on in here.
What's up, Russ? How you doing, man? Good morning.
Oh, it's Friday. How else could you start a Friday?
Hey, I'm in vacation mode. You know, I have my beach shirt on.
Dude, I'm in vacation mode too. You don't dress like this on vacation?
Nah, bro.
I'm wearing swim trunks. All right, so let's start off with a couple simple ones. Like, tell me about you. Like, where did you come from? Tell me a little bit about your business.
Yeah, man. So I'll go back, but I won't bore you guys. So real estate's my second career, man. This is my second go at it. So I'm from the city of New Orleans, Louisiana, and went to undergrad, grad, got my MBA, and then worked in corporate America for 12 years. I worked at the Union Pacific Railroad, dude, in Omaha, Nebraska. And I was there for a couple of years, and I was ready to get out. So they gave me an opportunity to move to Southern California. I moved to Southern California. I was in sales, and I had a lot of free time on my hands, man. So with that being said, I had some experiences in real estate on the investment side that were really actually really good. And I said, you know what? I want to monetize this free time, and I need to get into real estate. I'll get into it part-time, and the extra money I make, I'll buy some rental property, and I'll set myself up for the future. Well, obviously, I don't know how to do anything part-time, man. So I was at Keller at the time. I ended up getting Rookie of the Year part-time.
Nice.
And on February 12th, 2019, I was laid off from my railroad job. And the following week, I went to the Keller conference in New Orleans and came back a full-time agent, man, and hit the ground running. So that's kind of how I got to this point. And then I was at Keller for, I believe, 3 years. I had just spoke at their family reunion. And then a week later, a friend of mine called and she said, "Hey, Will, have you heard about EXP?" And I said the same thing everybody else does. Yeah, I've heard about it. I heard about it, whatever. And she was like, "But have you really taken a look at it?" And she sent me a video. I watched the video. That night I paced. Like, I seriously found myself walking around the kitchen table. I looked behind me and my dog was pacing with me. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I went to the wife and I said, you know what? I got to make a change. And I think a week later, I joined EXP, and that's how I ended up here.
All right. And what year was that?
That was 2021. Yeah. So that was during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you're relatively new here.
Yes. I just hit 2 years. Yep. I just hit 2 years at EXP.
I'm right behind you, baby. I just popped one week before last for
There you go.
first
Yeah,
year
no,
anniversary of my second time here.
it's been an amazing ride. The one thing I would probably change is I came in cap deferred, and I
Yeah.
had an amazing year the first year.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to icon that year. But then as soon as I reset, boom, I iconed.
You know, it's kind of funny that we talk about this and people talk about cap defer all the time, and they're like, "But Russ, I already paid the bill, and I don't want to pay the bill again." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if you pay the bill and you hit icon, you'd get that $16,000 worth of stock back." So you haven't done the math on what $16,000 worth of stock is worth now if you'd gotten it at $12 last year, did you?
So I did. So I got mine at 12. So it's basically almost doubled already. So insane. I'm glad I was on that last a little bit with when you guys talked about what's going on in the market and why the stock shot up.
Yeah.
Because last week was exciting, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like everybody's like, "Well, it's only a couple dollars." Yeah, but it's a couple dollars times the 16,000 you got, then that goes here almost doubles, and that 16 turns into 32. So you're like, "Well, I didn't want to pay the 16." Well, yeah, but it would have turned into 32. Of course, it could have turned into 2. Could have turned into 2, but you know, with a good solid company, we're not as worried about that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's one of the benefits that you don't really see it until it goes a little while, and then you're like, "Wow, that started to pile up." So let me ask you 2 questions. You work for Union Pacific Railroad. What did you do for Union Pacific Railroad specifically?
You know, I get that all the time. So I actually did sales. They're like, "Well, what do you sell?" I sell space on the train. So my clients were Tesla before I left, Tesla, Costco, who else? Samsung. So just any like major brand, consumer packaged good, Costco, anything like that. All that stuff moves on the train, right? You don't see it, you don't think about it. You just see trucks. But if everything moved on the road, you know how dangerous it would be with all these trucks going up and down the road, and how much the infrastructure would be bottlenecked. So probably 80-90% of the goods you see move via the train.
Yeah, that's amazing. So by the way, when I was a kid, back in the day when I was a kid in Wadsworth, Ohio, I graduated high school, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time to interview with the Akron Barberton Belt Railroad. And I started swinging a sledgehammer, replacing railroad ties when I was like 19. And then I was a brakeman for a little while hauling cars. So when people talk railroad, I got the rough side of it.
yes. So there's 2 sides of the railroad.
Mhm.
There's the sales and marketing side, and then there's the operation side. So I was on the sales and marketing, you know what I mean, that side.
Yeah.
So just very interesting.
I come from a long line of railroad family. Grandfather's a railroad guy. My dad ran railroads. He was the GM of a couple short line railroads. My brother Chuck works for the Federal Rail Administration currently as an investigator. He had 20 plus years in an engine. So rookie of the year. So let's dig into rookie of the year. What did you do to be rookie of the year? I mean, like, what are the things you were doing that got you there?
So a couple things, man. So for me, again, I had moved to Southern California, and I had no sphere, no anything here in Southern California. So I needed to figure out how to grow my business fast. And again, this was 2019, and social media was, it was big. It wasn't as big as it is now, but no one was doing Facebook ads. So I obsessed over learning Facebook ads. And that 1 year, I think I generated over 2,000 leads on Facebook, because you could really dive in. Like, my target was women, ages 35 to 42. You could like really drill and dive in. And I got all those leads. I called all those people, and guess what? I started closing deals, man. So it was a game changer for me, and it helped me build my brand, my database. It helped me get the experience I needed to get to where I'm at now. And it was just like supercharged, man. So I was dialed in.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's chat a little bit more about Facebook ads, because I know a lot of people hear about it and they know a little bit about it. Does it still work?
It still works. It works even better. And I'm actually, after we get off this call, I'm turning on some more ads, because you got to think about it. Right now, the market's slow and people have backed off, Also, there's no originality out there. Everyone that's running ads right now, because you can go in the back end and look at who's running, they're using these companies, and everything is templated. Nothing's original. So it actually works, and It's the same conversion as like a Zillow, where it's 3 to 5%, but you're paying so much less, right? So I'm getting leads for $4 or $5 a lead, versus Zillow will charge you 100, 150, 200. I had one of my agents I talked to last week, and he said he stopped doing Zillow, but he was at one point he was paying $1,000 and getting one lead a month. Madness.
Wow. So what's the real budget for you? Say, what's your budget right now? You spending $500 a month on that? You spending $300 a month on that? What does that look like?
A good one is $30 a day, so about $900 a month.
Okay, and why $30 a day?
So if you're getting about $4 to $5 a lead, right? So $4 to
Right.
$5 a lead. So every day you can get that's about 5 or 6 leads.
Yep.
So 5 or 6 leads a day. Again, it's a 3% conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
So every month you should get 1 to 2 deals at that price.
Yeah. So if you get 100 leads, you should be getting 3 closings, right?
You get 3 closings, but that you have to stack them, right? Because it's typically a 4 to 6 month type conversion on these leads.
That's
So
it
you
right
have
there.
to stack it. So the sooner you start, like you have to stack it, and you have to have some way to follow up with those people.
Okay, so 2 things are popping into my head right now. One is, what are you doing? What do the ads look like? What does that sound like? Give us a couple of examples of ads that actually hit that people grab onto. And then number 2, let's talk about follow-up, because I keep saying it over and over and over, and the world keeps saying it: follow up, because we know
Yes.
it's about 10 touches to get a close, typically on lead generation stuff done online, plus or minus
Yes.
1 or 2. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what does an ad look like? What's working for you?
So me and one of my business partners, we have this saying: "Give them the show," right? And as buyers, what the show is, what they want to see is homes, right? So homes, man. So I put up beautiful new construction homes. I give them, in the comments, I talk about how there's all these incentives, but you kind of have to use me to get those incentives, right?
Ooh.
And they'll click on it, right? So when they click on it, they'll flow into the database, and you have to immediately touch them. So I hit them with a text message, I hit them with a voicemail drop, I hit them with an email, and then if I'm available, I call them. But those first 2 or 3 days, man, you have to be like ferocious. And I hear a lot of times from agents, "Oh, I don't want to bug the people." You're not bugging them. They've given you the permission. They raised their hand. They've given you the permission to call them, to reach out to them, man. So those first few days, I'm just like really on them.
Yeah. So I've used this analogy a bunch of times. It's like having a hamburger stand with a big sign at the top says hamburgers. And then you get some dude walks up and he's like, "Hey man, I want a hamburger." And you're like, "Okay, here's a hamburger." And the guy says, "What?" He doesn't ever go, "No, man, why are you bugging me with a hamburger?"
Right.
He never says that. He goes, "Thanks for the hamburger," right? So when you shift your brain, is like they put their hand up and asked for it. That's the shift, right? So what you're doing is you're putting up a flag and saying, "Hey, who wants some of this?" And then the people that put their hands up, those are your people. Get them, right? They want you to get them.
Yeah.
So let me ask
They want it.
Let me ask you a question, Will, because I think this is an important question a lot of people might not catch yet. Can I just go to new home construction and build my own little video off of somebody's new construction? Would a builder like that? Are they okay with
They
that?
love it. Oh, they love it.
Love
They
it.
love it. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
They
So-
love it.
so-
I just don't go to Lennar anymore because Lennar doesn't like to pay us.
Man, we all have. We had one back in the day, and they're like, "We're not paying real estate agents," and then the market tightened up in 6, 7, 8, and they're like, "We'll give you 7%," and all the realtors were like, "No, man, we're not coming there. We know how you treat us when times are good, and now we're going to treat nuh-uh."
Yeah.
So the good news is the son took over the business, and he's like, "My dad was wrong from day one." And everybody's like, "Okay, fine, we'll sell your houses again." So here's what you do. You go to the new home construction, find something new home construction in your area, right? And then you just go into the salesperson and say, "Hi, I want to introduce myself. My name's Russ, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do some marketing stuff. Do you mind if I shoot some videos and shoot some pictures of your house?" That's it, right?
That's it. That's
and what
it.
do they say? And then what do they say?
It's as simple as that. They'll give you a pricing sheet. They'll offer to give you the tour. They'll open up the doors. I mean, literally, because they get paid either way. So I think that's something important when we're looking at partnerships. You have to know how that person's incentivized, and just help them reach their goals. That's it. Same thing with open houses, right? You call up the listing agent and say, hey, I want to help you market the house, help you and your client get the home sold.
Yeah. So this answers the question for a lot of real estate agents. They're like, Russ, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, if you don't have your own listings to promote, go to the new construction. By the way, Will, does a new construction typically pay a little better? And aren't they a lot easier of a transaction?
Oh my God, so easy,
Yes.
so easy. So so in my market, it's typically 2 to 2.5% you'll get paid. A lot of times the new construction, some of them you'll get 3%. And my average sale price has gone up. So my average sale price is about $1 million. So that's $30,000, and the amount of work you have to do, it's really none. So you show up the first day, you just kind of stay on the email thread and show up for the inspections. But like if you're trying to scale your business, that is the best way to do it if you have some new construction in there, because it takes less of your time, especially as if you're a solo agent.
Man, I love that. I am so glad you said that out loud, because it's been a little while since I've had a conversation like that with somebody, particularly here. Right. So a couple of things that you just said that are important. Number one, your typical new construction house is above the median sales price in your market typically. So people go, well, how do I sell houses that are more valuable? Well, go start doing marketing on new construction. So who calls on new construction houses? When I do posts and I do reviews of different neighborhoods and different new construction houses, who calls on those? People who want to buy them.
People want to buy them. Oh yeah, people want to buy them, and a lot of times you'll get move up buyers.
Yes.
And if folks you'll get relocation buyers as well, right?
Yes.
Because for me, I bought every home that I bought here in California has been new construction, because I'm from the South.
Yeah.
And or people from Texas or anything like that. Like there's tons of new construction. In LA, there isn't much like in the city, so you have to go out to the outskirts. But
Sure.
There's definitely more first-time buyers for new construction versus resale, I feel.
Yeah, because you got people moving in from out of state and moving around. So yes, I would say I found that to be true too. We did a ton of promotion of new construction when I ran brokerages. I got my agents to become new construction specialists. We actually built a program on how to be a new construction specialist with Kimberly Mackey. She is amazing. And it was so wild to watch our average sales price at every one of our offices that did this just went way up. And then the sales went up too, because you've got agents that are typically doing other things and they're working their sphere. And it's like, once I've worked my sphere so much, now what? Well, start adding people to your sphere by talking about new construction. And the cool part is the numbers basically end up flush out the same, even though they're slightly lower percentages. They're higher sales price, so you net the same dollars.
Well, it's a higher ROI too, right? Return on your time, because it's a much higher ROI, because you literally show them the home and then that's kind of it,
Yeah. So give me a couple tips on working with new construction people, because I have heard the gripes. I've stood on stage talking to them about how to work with real estate agents. What are a couple of the best tips on working with a new construction salesperson?
I think it's finding out what's important to them, helping them move the inventory that they're stuck with. So they'll love that. They love when you bring clients in, right? Because their job is to sell all those homes so they can move on, because they have reports and all kinds of other things. So really just knowing how they're compensated and incentivized, and helping them reach their goals. That's with anybody, just helping them reach their goals.
Gotcha. So a couple of the questions you're going to ask them are going to be, hey, what are you having trouble moving? Maybe I could do some marketing on that for you. Do a couple quick videos, drop them out on Facebook. Get some push going that direction. You could become, just by doing that consistently, the new home construction specialist. And by the way, when they buy a new home, a lot of times they have to sell one, which is what you said, move up buyer. They're buying a new house, they got to sell their own. So boom, now you got 2 sales out of the deal, right? Bring all your clients in there, right? If they're qualified and there's a number, ask them. I can't tell you how many times we just got people asking the question, if you could buy a new house instead of a used house, would you buy a new house? And most of the time the buyer's like, if I can afford one, heck yeah.
Yep.
And you start taking them in.
And can I add something, Russ? You have to use some strategy when showing your clients new construction. So if you showed a client new construction, then showed them resale, you're wasting your time, right? So if you want to close a client that day, I'll start by showing them a couple resale homes, and then I'll bring them to the new construction. They always sign that day.
You know, it's kind of funny because this goes into that chicken or egg conversation, because they're like, well, do I show them the new stuff first and ruin their day, or do I show them the old stuff first and then end on a high note? So I'm glad you weighed in on that, because I think you're right. Here's the thing: if you show them the new construction, like you said, then they're like, but there's other stuff out there that we might like. If you show them the other stuff first, they already know what they saw. Then when they see the new construction, they're like, bam, the contrast is dramatic in almost every single instance. And typically the model home is decked out to the nines also. So it's a little bit deceiving in that regard, because most people don't want to pay for all of those things. However, they always show extremely well. It's the nicest house they saw all day. So which one do they want to buy? If they could, they'll buy that one. Good.
Yeah. And if you've built a relationship, so like the last one I sold, I actually sold a bunch of this lady's, a bunch of homes with her, right? So I sold 3 or 4 homes with her in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And the rapport, like she's like, oh yeah, you know, I know Will, he does great work, you know, because you're with him, you're going to get this. Like they really edify you, you know what I mean? And that's what you want with your clients, because again, they're going to be doing all the work. But when it comes review time, you want them to know that you played an integral part in their success, and they're getting those savings and everything else that they're getting by buying that new construction.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really good point. Building the relationship with the new home salespeople is super, super important. Number one, you got to see them consistently. So build yourself a little circuit in your market, hit all the new construction places once every other month if you can. Just take one day and say, I'm just going to bounce through all the new construction places, see what's new, see what's working, see what they're stuck with, see if they've got something inventory that's popping back. That's a good deal. And once you get that relationship built, you introduce your clients to them and then get the heck out of the way.
Yep.
That salesperson is going to do a great job most of the time in doing a good job for your customers. Your job isn't there to beat the crap out of the other salesperson, guys. Your job is to help facilitate the transaction and help the buyer get what they want. And that salesperson's trained to do that. Now, obviously, if you see something weird, step in. But for the most part, the new home construction people, just let them do their thing. Stay out of the way. Nod your head and smile and stay out of the way. Let them do their thing, and they'll close them for you, which I love. Yep. Brilliant. All right. So what is the most expensive house you sold?
It's my listing right now. I just got a listing for $1.9 million.
Where is it?
It's in a city called Chatsworth.
Okay, I was gonna say some of the cities by you, man. 1.9 million. That's like 800 square foot, right?
You know, this one's actually big. This one's 3,000 square feet, 3,047.
I'm kidding, of course, but the prices there are high. But 3,000 square foot in Southern California is a big house.
That's a massive house. I remember when I moved into my the first house I bought was 1,200 square feet. It was a townhome, and then when I bought the home I'm in now, it was 2,400, and it just felt massive.
Yeah, I remember my my boss back in the days when I was working with a company called Carrington, based out of Southern California, not too far from Anaheim. There was their main office. I'd pop in there and so forth. And we'd talk about house prices. I mean, I was living in Tampa, Florida. This is like 2014, 15, right? Living in Tampa, Florida. So she flies in and she's looking at this house we set up our sales meeting in. And she's like, Russ, how much is this house? I'm like, this thing, man, this thing's got to be way up there. It's probably like 700,000. Dude, this house was 4,200 square feet. We're sitting out at the pool deck in the back, and she's like, this would be 6 million in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So 1.9 million. So how do you get into luxury? You're a luxury agent too now.
Yep.
How do you do?
You guys, I think there's 2 paths. Like you can push it and really go after those luxury listings, or you can go the organic route, which I did. So I'm going to give you guys a secret. The way to get $1 million homes and $2 million homes. Well, the way to get $2 million homes is to sell enough $1 million homes, right? Because they'll appreciate to a $2 million home. And that's kind of the route I've taken. So when I started a couple years back, I think my average price point was about $450. I sold a bunch of those, just kept networking, meeting more people. And then the next year it was like $650. And now every home I'm selling is right at $1 million or above $1 million. And a lot of times it's those same clients. The homes just appreciate that much here. Like this home I have for 1.9, I sold it during the pandemic for $1 million to the clients. And now the neighbor just sold for 2. So they're ready to pull the trigger.
All right. So this brings us back to follow-up, right? So I would say you're the type of guy that doesn't say I have a client, I have a transaction. you have a client for life, customer for life. And the
Correct.
reason you're doing that, and when you do that, you get that 500 to million to 1.5 million. The average house in my market here went up 50% in the last 5 years. 50%.
Yep.
Your $500,000 house is now 750. Your 750 is now over $1 million, right?
Exactly.
So you're talking organic grow up your thing. And by the way, the new construction tip for you guys is a great way to do it too. Get your higher price point up a little bit, and then you're going to attract more higher price point, and they're going to sell those and buy bigger houses. So, but you got to stay in the game with follow-up. So what are you doing for follow-up?
So a couple things, man. So I'm really excited about this, but I started doing events.
What?
So I started doing events.
Okay.
I started planning them 3 months ago. I've already had 2 past client events, dude. So here's my goal for business and how I really want to run my business. And it's I don't know if you guys have read 7 Levels. What is it? The 7 Levels of Communication, Michael Mayer. I've read that book 3 or 4 times. And I love how he has you do 4 major events a year, and literally all your prospecting is calling to invite people to the event. You see the people at the event, and then you follow up, and then boom, now you start on the next event. And literally that's all I've been doing. So if you guys can get to about 50 or so past clients, I would really turn on the events at that point, because it's more rewarding than working with new people all the time. But also, like, it takes the relationships to the next level.
Yeah. So I mean, think about it. We're talking about communication. We're talking about building relationships. And I ask people all the time, I'm like, if you could only communicate with your spouse on Facebook, would you have a good relationship? Now there's a bunch of people who'd be like, well, you know, that always kills me. I'm like, shut up. You wouldn't say that in front of her or him. But the reality is, getting together people, like, we're a virtual real estate company. And I love the times when we get together. We do shareholders, and we do EXPCon, and they're doing EXPCon Canada. I'll be talking about here in a second. When they're doing that kind of stuff, that's where the real bonds and the real connections are made a lot of times. It's doable online. It's doable like this, because, dude, I feel closer to you now, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if I could be in the room with you and shake hands with you and stand next to you, it's a completely different feel. And your people feel the same way.
Yeah, man. So shout out to my buddy, Will Grimes. So I was talking to Will probably 3-4 months ago. And he said, bro, he's like, you're going too wide. He's like, you got to go deep. Like, got to go deep. He talked about his success, and he's like, look, dude, he's like, if I didn't go deep on YouTube, none of this would be here for me. Right. So he's like, you need to focus in, just go deep in 1 or 2 areas, and then everything else will take care of itself, man. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been trying to go deeper with the clients. And now, truth be told, we have the time. You know, like, my business is probably almost cut in half, you know, of what it was. So now I have the time.
That's the thing, Will. By the way, I know Will Grimes. I interviewed him here a couple of weeks ago, and he and I actually have become kind of semi-buddies, even though I still haven't seen him live and in person. I built him a chessboard for his family. Random, I know, but super great guy. And I love that point. Go deep, go deep, go deep. I keep telling people, after I talk to him, it's just really obvious. The visual for me is like, if you're going to fill up buckets, fill up one bucket first. And then when that bucket's overflowing, put another bucket underneath it. Mm-hmm. Don't try to fill them all up a little bit partially, because then you got a bunch of buckets that are partially full. So go all in and build that relationship. When you build those relationships and do a good job, they actually take way less time than chasing a bunch of people that you don't know whether they're going to fly or not. You're spending the less amount of time on people you know are going to win.
And it's rewarding. Like, it's more rewarding. You become less transactional. And the people appreciate it. They appreciate you. As an agent, you will run yourself ragged trying to work with new folks, these online leads all the time, because truth be told, they see you as a door opener. Yes. Like, these people, the one thing these people know is that you can close, right? Yeah. Like, they know the value. They know that you can close, and they feel comfortable sending you referrals, because guess what? They know how you're going to treat those people. So, dude, past clients are everything. Like, that's the holy grail of real estate. If you can figure out how to get referrals and work with past clients, like, your life, you can go on vacations, like, everything changes.
Yeah. So if you have 200 people you have a great relationship with and you've gone deep with and you've brought them to events and made them feel special, made them feel important, made them feel like part of your tribe, every single one of those people knows at least 7 people really, really, really well that they could refer. So you've got 1,400 people you have immediate touch with by having a really great relationship with somebody by doing that stuff. So I love that. That's a big win. And I think a lot of people could be more intentional with doing that and they'd see similar results, but it takes time. It takes time.
It takes time. It does take time, but also you just have to take action, right? Like that's literally been my claim to fame. I go to these events. I go to all the events. Every time I go to anything, I try to take one actionable item and I do it. So remember I talk about Facebook ads, right?
Yep.
I got into Facebook ads in the follow-up system because Tristan, when I was at KW, I don't know what he was, maybe he was going around to all the offices selling something, I don't know. But he came to our office and he was pitching some program and I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
I literally implemented it the next day.
Yeah.
And that's how my business took off. So I always like literally take one thing. You know, I had a mastermind right before I started doing my events, and I mastermind with a couple that's all they do is events, and they did almost 40 transactions last year. You know, with an average price of $800,000 here in SoCal, right? So that's a good business.
That's a lot.
And 35 came from their events. So I was like, you know what, I got to do this. And I literally took action immediately. I had my first event, which was at the LA County Fair. And then I had my second event last weekend, which was I rented out a movie theater. So action, 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 guys.
Love that. All right, buddy. We got to wrap up, man. We are at the end of the show today. I thank you very much. We got a board full of great stuff. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being awesome. And man, I can't wait to see you live and in person someday. We'll make sure we get together and hang out. We'll just grab Will and we can hang out.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Be good. Thanks a bunch. All right, there you go. Will Higgins. The book, by the way, he mentioned 7 Levels of Communication. Grab that book. That's where he ran that from and learned that from. And man, what a great interview. Great guy. Just a normal dude doing normal stuff. Came from the railroad. Come on, right? But he had sales background, which helps. Okay. Will, the beautiful, beautiful time today. All right. Last thing up, we got one announcement here. EXPCon Canada. EXPCon Canada is rocking and rolling, and we are getting set up for that. We are just days away from EXPCon Canada, taking place September 6th through 8th, 2023 in Vancouver, BC. This is the first ever EXPCon outside the US, and it promises to be a career-changing experience, focusing on topics that you, our Canadian agents, are experiencing and want to talk about. Give us 3 days of your time, and we promise you will leave with the skills to help you take your business to the next level. Tickets are going fast, so make sure you guys jump out and get those tickets rocking and rolling. And with that said, last thing up is NPS survey. For NPS survey, guys, if you can just jump on NPS and make sure that you are doing the survey and let us know how we're doing on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know how we're doing, and we will be happy to make some adjustments as needed, and tell us what you like too. Okay. All righty. That's all I got for Friday. It is Friday, June 16th. I'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for iConversations coming up next.